The world of startups is full of borrowed and strange words. Unicorns and dragons, hockey sticks and bootstrapping, and angels. Now, the origin of this term is actually Broadway. Back in the late 70s, an angel was a wealthy person who kept a theatrical production alive with their money when it would have otherwise been shut down. And then the word was adapted to a business context, with the term angel investor gaining widespread popularity. And today, it's most often used in the context of startups, and most often startups in the seed stage. But even before the seed stage, there's a stage called the pre-seed stage, otherwise known as the angel stage. And startups in this stage of growth are very, very young. They might not even have an MVP or a prototype yet. And institutional investors, venture capital firms, aren't willing to take a risk on them, but angels are. So angels are individual investors, oftentimes retired entrepreneurs or executives, although there are plenty of angels who are actively building their own companies as well. And also angels who have no entrepreneurial experience and they're just wealthy individuals. Maybe they saw an episode of Shark Tank India, or they heard about successful Indian startup IPOs and they want to be a part of that story. And according to Fortune India, in 2022, India has upwards of 26,500 angel investors. Now, we're not gonna have time to talk about all of them, unfortunately, but in this video, we're gonna be focusing in on the top 20 Indian angel investors, coming up right after this. Starting things off at number 20, we have Sandeep Tandon. Sandeep co-founded one of India's first mobile payment platforms, Freecharge. He's a serial entrepreneur, a mentor, and an angel investor from Mumbai. He began his journey as an angel in 2015 when he participated in Bengaluru-based payment gateway startup Razorpay's seed round. And since then, he's made another 19 investments, and while most of these have been into Indian startups, he's also invested in 2 American companies, an Indonesian company, and a Singaporean company too. Now, more than 3/4 of his investments are seed stage, and so far he's made 3 exits: Flyrobe, Shadi Saga, and Pianta. Indian startups that are still in his portfolio include Spinny, Dukaan, Unacademy, and Indiagold, just to name a few. And these were all seed stage investments. Next up at number 19, we have Arihant Patni. Arihant is a Mumbai-based entrepreneur, financial advisor, and angel investor whose father founded Patni Computer Systems, which is where most of the founders of Infosys began their careers. PCS was acquired by iGate in 2011, and following this, Arihant co-founded Nirvana Venture Advisors, a Mumbai-based VC firm focused on internet companies. However, outside of his role as a VC, Arihant has also made a number of personal investments as an angel, 24 to be precise. 4 of these were California investments, and 20 of them were India investments, and you've probably heard of a few of these: Lido Learning, TheMathCompany, Owl Brewery, BabyChakra, and Fitternity. So far, he's made 3 exits, which include those last 2, as well as Palo Alto-based Minhash. Moving on to number 18 now, we have Alok Mittal. Alok is based out of Gurugram. He's a founding member of India Angel Network, and he's also the co-founder and CEO of Indify Technologies, a Gurugram-based digital lending platform for MSMEs. So far, he's made 30 angel investments, and while 3 of these were at the Series A level, the remainder were at the seed or angel level. Also, while many of his investments have been into Bengaluru, Mumbai, and NCR-based companies, he's also funded 2 Chennai-based startups and 2 Singapore-based startups as well. Coming in at number 17, we have TV Mohandas Pai. He's a Padma Shri awardee, a philanthropist, a Bangalorean, and an angel investor with 30 portfolio companies under his belt. He spent 17 years at Infosys in various executive roles, and soon after his time there ended, he began his journey as an angel investor, with some of his early investments being made into companies like Zoomcar, Your Story, and Licious. He's since amassed a fairly geographically diverse portfolio of companies in places like Bengaluru, Mumbai, and NCR, but also Pune, Vadodara, New York, Palo Alto, London, Singapore, and Antwerp in Belgium. Now, he has slowed down a bit as an angel in recent years, having only made 1 investment in the last 3 years, but he's still very active in the VC ecosystem as a partner and as an investor at a number of firms. Now, like I said, Mohandas Pai's investment portfolio is geographically diverse, and the idea here is that he doesn't want to put all of his eggs in one basket. He doesn't want to have all of his investments in one country. But he's an angel investor, right? He's a millionaire, he travels around the world, and so that's something that he can do. But as retail investors, people like you and me, We often feel like we can't do that, right? But I'm here to tell you that today, with today's sponsor Vested Finance, you can. With Vested Finance, you can invest in US companies like Apple, Tesla, and Google. And this of course has the benefit of geographical diversification, but it also has a more important benefit, which is that it allows you to benefit from appreciation of the US dollar against other currencies. The Indian rupee, for example, has depreciated by almost 30% in the last 10 years against the US dollar. So if you're invested in US stocks, then this appreciation of the US dollar effectively adds to your INR returns. And Vested makes this process extremely easy for you. Vested allows you to open your account for free and buy US stocks at 0% commission. This means that you can buy and sell unlimited times, and you're only charged when you withdraw your money. Now, typically with platforms like this, the most difficult part is adding funds for US investing. This is a huge challenge for people because it involves high transaction charges and it usually takes between 3 and 5 days. However, with Vested, everything is fast and straightforward. You can add money into your US investing account with 0 transfer charges and a fixed Forex rate. And that's not all. When you sign up with Vested, you get access to features like Vests, which are basically buckets full of stocks and ETFs created by experts, keeping in mind various themes like SaaS, Bitcoin, AI, etc. So what are you waiting for? Click on the link in the description down below to start investing in US stocks from India today. Next up at number 16, we have Rajesh Sawhney. Rajesh got started as the founder of Times Internet, then as the founding president of Reliance Entertainment, and near the end of his time in this role, he started making investments as an angel. And he got off to a great start with a 2010 Series A investment into American streaming service Viki, which was later acquired by Rakuten, giving Rajesh a comfortable exit. He's since made 34 other personal investments, and these are almost all companies and places that we've mentioned already: Bengaluru, NCR, Singapore, New York, and San Francisco. But one exception is Grey Orange. Grey Orange is an Indian origin robotics and AI company based in Roswell, Georgia in the United States. Also, apart from his investments, Rajesh is also the founder and CEO of GSF Accelerator, a multi-city tech-focused early-stage VC firm. Coming in at number 15, we have Gaurav Munjal. Gaurav is the co-founder and CEO of India's second most valuable edtech startup, Unacademy. But before Unacademy, he also founded FlatChat, an app that connected potential roommates. Now, of Gaurav's 35 personal investments, 20 have been into Bengaluru-based companies, as Gaurav himself is based in Bengaluru, although he's originally from Jaipur, and more than a quarter of his investments have been above seed stage. He's made 7 Series A investments, 1 Series B investment, and 2 Series D investments into Pratalipi and also his own company, Unacademy. Oh, and he's also made 2 exits: game streaming platform Rio TV and online fitness startup Tread. Coming in at number 14 now, we have Sujeet Kumar. Sujeet is from Babua in Bihar, and he's the co-founder of Bengaluru-based B2B trade platform Udaan. And he and his co-founders came up with the idea for Udaan while they were working at Flipkart. Today, besides building his company, Sujeet is also invested in 38 companies as an angel, both within India and abroad. Some of his international investments include Pan-Africa B2B retail startup Wasoko, Jakarta-based wholesale e-commerce marketplace Ula, and Singapore-based SaaS startup Kapita. Locally though, here in India, he's invested in Euler Motors, Newton School, Unacademy, and OneCo, to name a few. Next up at number 13, we have Amrish Rau. Amrish is the co-founder of CitrusPay, which was based in Mumbai and was acquired by PayU in 2016 for $150 million. And today, he's the CEO of Pine Labs. And he's also a prolific angel investor with 39 companies in his portfolio. Being that he's based in Singapore and has a background in fintech, it's not surprising that 1/5 of these companies are located in Southeast Asia and 2/5 are in the fintech space. Some of his noteworthy Indian investments include fintech company Open, which recently became a unicorn, B2B fish and seafood supplier Captain Fresh, Cred, and Katabook. Moving in at number 12 now, we have Girish Mathrubootham. Girish is the co-founder and CEO of Nasdaq-listed SaaS company Freshworks, which he's been building since 2010. He's originally from Tiruchirappalli in Tamil Nadu, and that could be one of the reasons why he's invested in more Tamil Nadu-based startups than anybody else on this list so far. 6 of his 39 portfolio companies are based in Chennai: social media platform People, travel tech startup Pick Your Trail, logistics platform Pando, fintech startup Oro, e-commerce printing provider InkMonk, and social recommendation app Frilp. Oh, and InkMonk and Frilp are 2 of Girish's 6 exits. Next up at number 11, we have Vijay Shekhar Sharma. Vijay, of course, is the founder and CEO of Paytm, and he was born in Aligarh in Uttar Pradesh. Vijay, known when he was younger as VSS, built his first company, XS, in his college dorm, and he sold it for $1 million. So he definitely knows what it's like to start from nothing and then build the company up into something valuable, which is why he's such an active angel investor. He began his journey as an angel in 2010 with a seed stage investment into Indian crowdfunding platform Milab, and has since made investments into 40 other companies including Evenflow, Goki, Unacademy, Flowbiz, and Hiver. Moving on to number 10 now, we have Ratan Tata. He's been called the reverse colonialist because of how many international companies Tata Group bought under his leadership, like T-Firm Tetley in 2000, Anglo-Dutch Chorus Group in 2007, and Jaguar Land Rover in 2008. He was the chairman of Tata Group up until 2017, but began his journey as an angel investor several years before that, in 2014 as a lead investor in Snapdeal's venture round. This was an admittedly unfortunate way for him to begin his angel investment journey, but in spite of Snapdeal's downfall, he's since added another 39 companies to his portfolio, including Goki, Cardeco, Your Story, Ola, Paytm, Urban Company, and many, many more. Now, one little aside here before we move on to number 9 is that while we were researching this script, we were actually really surprised by how few Indian billionaires are investing in startups as angel investors. It's just not something that really happens apart from, of course, Ratan Tata. For example, Mukesh Ambani. He isn't an angel. He doesn't invest in startups. And investing a few lakh into a startup would be like buying a Snickers for him, but it just isn't something that he does. Same thing with Gautam Adani or Radhakishan Damani or Shiv Nadar or Cyrus Poonawalla or Uday Kotak. It's just not something that they do, sadly. Anyways, coming in at number 9 now, we have Anand Chandrasekaran. So Anand is a partner at American VC firm General Catalyst, and he's actually spent a lot of time working with American companies. He began his career as the co-founder of California-based AeroPrize, and then after 8 years of building this business, he settled into a multi-company career as a product leader, working with Five9, Facebook, Snapdeal, and Airtel. Around 2014 is when he started investing in companies as an angel, and close to a third of his portfolio consists of American and Singaporean startups. The remaining 2/3 of his 43 portfolio companies include Indian startups like Mudrex, Pestotech, Evenflow, SuperK, and Oi Rickshaw. Oh, and he's made 5 successful exits too, all of which were Indian. Next up at number 8, we have Jitendra Gupta. So Jitendra is based in Mumbai and is today the founder and CEO of Jupiter. But before starting that company, he was the managing director of PayU, and before that, the co-founder of CitrusPay. And it was during his CitrusPay days that he started investing as an angel, and he got off to a pretty great start by leading a seed stage investment into AI-powered personal assistant startup Jo Hukum in 2015. This startup was later acquired by Freshworks in 2017, at which point Jitendra exited. And since 2015, he's added 45 other companies to his portfolio, including Open, Farmart, Captain Fresh, and Dukaan. Oh, and he's also the co-founder of venture capital firm White Venture Capital, which specifically invests in fintech startups. Moving on to number 7 now, we have Binny Bansal. Binny is originally from Chandigarh and is of course one of the founders of Flipkart, and interestingly, his co-founder Sachin Bansal isn't on this list because he hasn't actually been overly active as an angel. After Walmart acquired Flipkart for $16 billion, Binny started X to 10X Technologies to mentor young entrepreneurs and help them scale their startups. And while his portfolio consists of 50 startups, he's made 64 investments, meaning that he's stuck around as an angel and continued to fund companies that he believes in. Some of these repeat investments include Akko, Cure Foods, Sigtuple, Unacademy, Niramai, Sugar Plum, and Magnify. Coming in at number 6, we have Rohit Bansal. Rohit is originally from Malot in Punjab, and he's one of the co-founders of Snapdeal. Before Snapdeal's unfortunate downfall, which they're currently trying to recover from, he and his co-founder launched Titan Capital in 2015, with a focus on consumer internet, D2C, SaaS, AI, and computer vision startups. Rohit now has 56 companies in his own personal portfolio, and as an e-commerce entrepreneur, a lot of these investments are actually into product startups like Mama Earth, Nat Habit, Bira 91, Open Secret, Bewukuf, and Flyrobe. And that last one is also one of his 6 successful exits. Next up at number 5, we have Ramakant Sharma. He began his entrepreneurial journey back in 2012 when he co-founded Zing E-commerce, the parent company of VioletBag.com, which was an e-commerce platform for cosmetics and fragrances. Things at Zing, though, didn't go as planned, and so in 2014, Ramakant tried again with LiveSpace, which has been hugely successful. It became a unicorn in 2022 and connects customers with professionals for home renovation and design. Today, Ramakant is based in Bengaluru, and he's invested in 61 companies so far, including Toothsy, Convin, Captain Fresh, Trell, Rupify, and Wizfreight. And I also want to point out that he's made investments into startups outside of the metros of India, like Pune-based Loop Health and Bidano, Kota-based Iki Foods, and Nasik-based Wintwealth. Moving into number 4 now, we have Kunal Shah. So Kunal is of course the other founder of Snapdeal and Titan Capital, and he's originally from New Delhi. His portfolio as an angel consists of 66 startups, and a majority of these are actually the same as Rohit Bansal's investments, so I would imagine that they consult each other about startups that come their way. After all, if you believe in someone enough to invest in them, then you'll recommend them to your friends. And this is why Kunal Shah's exits are identical to Rohit's. Now, some of the startups that Kunal has invested in that Rohit hasn't are Rapido, Ola, Indiagold, and Jugnu. Okay, welcome to the top 3. I'm glad that you made it this far, and I think you will be too, because the next 3 are really interesting. Next up, we're going to be talking about Anupam Mittal. So Anupam is from Mumbai. He's the founder and CEO of People Group, which owns Shaadi.com, Makan.com, and Moj Mobile. He was one of the sharks on the first season of Shark Tank India, where he invested 5.4 crore rupees into 24 startups. And his journey as an angel investor began in 2011 when he invested in Ola's angel round. So things obviously got off to a great start for him when it comes to angel investing, and he's still holding onto that stake in Ola to this day. He's invested in 65 other companies, and he's made more exits than anyone else on this list so far, 12 to be exact. Companies like SimSim, which was acquired by YouTube, Daily Ninja, which was acquired by Big Basket, Truebill, which was acquired by Spinny, and HashLearn, which was acquired by Byju's. But the investments that he's still holding on to are just as impressive. You've got Rapido, Trell, Let's Venture, Animal, and Lido Learning. Next up at number 2, we have Rajan Anandan. Now, Rajan is a unique entry on this list because he's not actually Indian. He's from Sri Lanka, but given the massive impact that he's had as the managing director of Sequoia Capital and the fact that his wife and daughter and most of his investments are Indian, we're gonna give him a pass. In fact, according to Crunchbase, he actually doesn't have any Sri Lankan companies in his personal portfolio, although he did set up a VC firm in Sri Lanka called Blue Ocean Ventures to develop the company's startup ecosystem. In his 12 years as an angel investor, Rajan has invested in 67 companies, and roughly 4/5 of these were Indian startups. Oh, and incredibly, he's made 16 exits throughout his time as an angel. Companies like Gaming Monk, which was bought by MPL, PopXO, which was acquired by MyGlam, and Innovate, which was bought by Oyo. And finally, coming in at number 1, we started this list with a Freecharge founder, and we're gonna be ending it with a Freecharge founder. We're talking, of course, about Kunal Shah. And if you wanna learn more about his fascinating early life, then make sure to check out this video up here. It's super short, but it'll blow your mind. So Kunal is currently building cred, and he's basically a super angel. In fact, he's invested in more companies than Rajan Anandan and Anupam Mittal, the last 2 entrants on this list combined. Kunal's portfolio consists of 170 companies, and one of the reasons for this is that Kunal doesn't just think of being an angel as a way to grow his personal wealth. He's actually doing it as a form of philanthropy. He wants to give back to India's startup ecosystem, and his funding process is relatively simple. WhatsApp him your pitch deck or write him a short note about yourself and the product that you're building, ideally with a referral from one of his investor or entrepreneur friends, and he may end up investing in your startup. All right, that was our list of the top 20 Indian angel investors. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and now just one footnote here is that we actually used Crunchbase pretty heavily to compile this list. Basically, the way that it was arranged was in terms of how many investments these angels had made. But one shortcoming here, of course, is that Crunchbase only lists publicly disclosed deals. So if there's any deals that happened behind closed doors that we don't know about, that aren't publicly listed on the internet, then we wouldn't have included them. Even if you yourself watching this video are aware of some of these deals or you've heard rumors about some of them, we weren't able to include them because they're technically just considered speculation without actually being publicly disclosed. Now, before you go, I'm curious to know, if you're a startup founder, have you pitched to any of these angel investors? Or if you're planning on starting up someday, which of these angel investors do you plan to pitch to and why? Leave your thoughts in a comment down below, and I will see you in the next one.